These are the Sunday recommendations for my free email list for October the 30th, 2022. Happy Halloween! And related, this week we are sending off to rest in peace the ForgottenDelights.com domain name. I set up Forgotten Delights in 2002 as a place to post on outdoor sculpture in New York City. Hence the name, because most people never notice that sculpture. In 2015, for marketing reasons, I transferred the content to DianeDurantewriter.com. This month I'm letting the Forgotten Delights domain name expire. It had a good run. Also this week, another reminder, I'm offering Sunny Sundays, a compilation of my 172 favorite Sunday recommendations from the past 5 years. 54 of these were originally sent out only to financial supporters. It has 335 pages and about 170 illustrations. Signed pre-publication copies are $30, including shipping, and each one will have an image of the St. Gaudens Walking Liberty coin on the spine. Deadline for pre-publication orders is November the 7th. Even with the somewhat unpredictable delivery times of Amazon and the United States Post Service, you should have a copy in hand by Christmas. For payment, go to the Sunday Recommendations page and click on the Leave a Tip button, or go to PayPal. The details are in the email. All right, now on to the recommendations. The blog post this week is on the Florence Griswold Museum, the home of Florence Griswold, whose dates are 1850 to 1937, was by 1900 or so the center of the Old Lyme Art Colony, one of the centers of the American Impressionist movement. The first floor has been refurnished more or less as it appeared at that time. What's unique in the U.S. is that on the doors and the wall panels, Miss Florence invited her artist boarders to paint original works. Second recommendation, a poem called The Owl Critic by James Thomas Fields, whose dates are 1817 to 1881. Incidentally, when I meet people, I often don't tell them that I write and lecture on art because so many art historians and art critics talk like this. "Who stuffed that white owl?" No one spoke in the shop. The barber was busy, and he couldn't stop. The customers waiting their turns were all reading the Daily, the Herald, the Post, little heeding the young man who blurted out such a blunt question. Not one raised a head or even made a suggestion, and the barber kept on shaving. "Don't you see, Mr. Brown," cried the youth with a frown, "how wrong the whole thing is, how preposterous each wing is, how flattened the head is, how jammed down the neck is? In short, the whole owl, what an ignorant wreck 'tis! I make no apology. I've learned owliology. I've passed days and nights in 100 collections, and cannot be blinded to any deflections arising from unskilful fingers that fail to stuff a bird right from his beak to his tail. Mr. Brown, do take that bird down, or you'll soon be the laughing-stock all over town." And the barber kept on shaving. "I've studied owls and other night fowls, and I tell you what I know to be true. An owl cannot roost with his limbs so unloosed. No owl in this world ever had his claws curled, ever had his legs slanted, ever had his bill canted, ever had his neck screwed into that attitude. He can't do it because it's against all bird laws. Anatomy teaches, ornithology preaches, an owl has a toe that can't turn out so. I've made the white owl my study for years, and to see such a job almost moves me to tears. Mr. Brown, I'm amazed you should be so gone crazed as to put up a bird in that posture absurd. To look at that owl really brings on a dizziness. The man who stuffed him didn't half know his business." And the barber kept on shaving. "Examine those eyes. I'm filled with surprise. Taxidermists should pass off on you such poor glass. So unnatural they seem they'd make Audubon scream." And John Burroughs laughed to encounter such chaff. "Do take that bird down. Have him stuffed again, Brown." And the barber kept on shaving. "With some sawdust and bark I could stuff in the dark an owl better than that. I could make an old hat look more like an owl than that horrid fowl, stuck up there so stiff like a side of coarse leather. In fact, about him there's not one natural feather." Just then, with a wink and a sly, normal lurch. The owl very gravely got down from his perch, walked around and regarded his fault-finding critic, who thought he was stuffed, with a glance analytic, and then fairly hooted as if he should say, "Your learning's at fault this time, anyway. Don't waste it again on a live bird, I pray. I'm an owl, you're another. Sir Critic, good day." And the barber kept on shaving. When I was looking for illustrations for the video, I came across this charming engraving on the right. The caption beneath it says, in Dutch, "What is the use of candle or glasses if the owl does not want to see?" Third recommendation, Enola Holmes from 2020. This is a 2-hour mystery with appealing characters and a good plot. If you're a fan of Stranger Things, which I am, except when I'm not, you'll recognize the actress who plays Enola as 11. The movie is based on the first in a series of books by Nancy Springer, which I haven't read but intend to try. It's available on Netflix. The fourth recommendation this week for my supporters is a painting by Frederick Church that's at the Griswold Museum. DianeDuranteWriter.com has hundreds of posts on sculpture, painting, architecture, and my other obsessions. To join the free Sunday recommendations email list, visit the URL that's on the screen or email me. And you can say "Well done, Diane," or support my work and receive rewards by means of the tip jar on DianeDuranteWriter.com. As always, thank you for listening.